bring me a box. Mine is 50 cents. Sucker. No EMA approval. Shorts need to know when they're conquered. And stay out. Man, these shorts never give up. 1 second it was, the data's fake. The drug doesn't work. They'll never submit to the EMA. The next it's, they'll never answer their questions. So you know what? You can keep your 50 cents. I'm here to make millions. Those shorts, I swear they don't know when to quit. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Thunderdome Investing. I'm your investing analyst, David Gibson, and we have some big news to go over today. We have some huge news to go over for Anavex Life Sciences and IO Biotech. Many of you who have been watching the channel know that Anavex is far and away my favorite stock on the channel as it stands. It's my Mad Max of the channel, as you could say. And this news that just dropped got me even more excited, so let's get into it. As always, these videos are for entertainment and educational purposes only. Any topics discussed in this video are not intended to be any investment or financial advice. Always do your own research before making any investment decisions. Okay, with all that out of the way, let's get into the good stuff. A user named Brian5220 posted on the AVXL Stock Twits page with a screenshot of blarcamesine being listed in the EMA Medicines for Human Use Under Evaluation website page. Blarcamesine is now listed with a restart date of July 21st, 2025. This comes as an update from the EMA's monthly list of medicines under evaluation by the CHMP. This date signifies the day that Anavex submitted their answers to the first round of the EMA's questions. It's rumored that the start date for these questions was April 25th, 2025, which would put Anavex at a response time of 87 days out of the 90 that are given for this process. This is a huge deal, and I'll tell you why. After the EMA gives the company the questions, they have 90 days to submit their answers. If the company doesn't like these questions or they don't have the answers to these questions, they will withdraw their submission and conduct another trial, or at least find a way to have the answers to these questions in the future. They submitted their answers to the EMA in 87 days, 3 days before they were even required. This is an awesome sign that Anavex is actually getting closer and closer to an EMA decision. And honestly, at this rate, closer to an EMA approval. They have taken every step they needed to and have had clear conviction while doing it. Last week, Anavex shared some promising results from their Phase 2b/3 trial of blarcamesine at the 2025 Alzheimer's Association International Conference, or the AAIC, in Toronto. Blarcamesine demonstrated significant cognitive and functional improvements in patients with early AD. Patients who started blarcamesine earlier had better results at the end of the trial. And it showed that people with certain common genetic profiles responded even better, potentially seeing up to 1.5 years of delay in disease progression. On the ADAS COG13 test measuring thinking and memory, they did about 3.8 points better than those who started later. On the ADCS-ADL scale measuring daily living ability, they scored about 4.3 points higher. The ability to tailor treatment based on genetics is a huge edge that Anavex holds. Data becomes overall more precise and more effective. All eyes are still on late 2025 for a decision from the EMA, and I think it's a decision that you won't want to miss. Pivoting a little bit, we also have some huge news on IO Biotech. This morning, IO Biotech released their pivotal Phase 3 trial results for their cancer drug Cylembio. On the call, IO Biotech had announced that they had missed their statistical significant threshold for the study, which was a p-value of 0.045. But the p-value that IO Biotech gave with the data was 0.056. Which is very close, but this miss is something that shorts and other investors will jump on as an opportunity to keep the stock price down. But overall, I saw the data as being very positive. And I want to elaborate on why I think that. If we look at the data, we see that they made it a point to explicitly state that they are excluding patients who had previously been on or taken Keytruda. They made this a point of emphasis because this is actually how they conducted their Phase 1 and 2 trials. They didn't include patients who had previously taken pembrolizumab because they only get 30 patients for these trials and they didn't want to add any noise that they didn't need to. So then the question becomes, why did they add these 36 patients with prior exposure to their Phase 3 trial? Why did they roll the dice on such a risky move? Is it greed or is it just stupidity? Well, in my opinion, I don't think it's either. Now, it's just speculation, but it would be my idea that the FDA requested they add in these patients for labeling purposes. Does it actually help these patients? Does it do nothing? Does it actually hurt them? I believe the FDA wanted an answer to these questions, so IO Biotech added them in, which ended up being the reason that they missed their p-value goal of 0.045 of showing statistical significance. Because excluding these patients, the p-value becomes 0.037. which would have demonstrated the statistical significance that they were looking for. And we would have a $10 a share stock right now, rather than a $1 a share stock that we have now. Taking into consideration that the company already has a breakthrough therapy designation from the FDA, the way that the FDA responds to this will be greatly impacted. Missing the p-value will really not be the end of the world for IOBT, and there's a couple reasons for that. To me, still having the planned meeting with the FDA in the fall shows that they still believe that there's a regulatory path forward. If we take a look at the top line results slide that IOBT covered in the call this morning, there is a huge piece of information that stands out to me. In the second line, it explains that excluding the patients with prior anti-PD-1 exposure, the median progression-free survival was 24.8 months. 24.8 months! Those are the kind of results that we were looking for here. This is exactly what we wanted. Hopping over to the different pipelines that were discussed as well, we can see some big plans ahead for Cylembio. Like I mentioned before, they put plans to meet and discuss data with the FDA in the fall, but they also listed potential US BLA submission, which was confirmed today on the call. The plan is to get the BLA submission in by the end of the year, which is aggressive, but just reaffirms that the company is serious about Cylembio and that they know that this is the groundbreaking therapy they were hoping for it to be. A slight p-value miss isn't going to deter me from believing that IO Biotech could have a monster on their hands. If anything, the data released today makes me even more excited about their future. Lastly, before I wrap up the video, I wanted to do an update on Candel Therapeutics. Candel is set to present at the Canaccord Genuity 45th Annual Growth Conference. The conference is being held from August 12th through August 14th, but Candel will be presenting on Wednesday the 13th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm not really expecting anything significant or noteworthy from this presentation, but I just wanted to update and show that Candel is still popping their head up every now and then, even though they are still deep in their CAN 2409 pancreatic cancer treatment studies. But that's all I have for today. Thank you all for watching until the end. As always, if you like this kind of content and you want to see more of it, be sure to like and subscribe. But as always, I have been your investing analyst, David Gibson, and this has been another episode of the Investing Thunderdome.